My parents made me forgive my evil brother's violence. This happened a long time ago, but it still lives in my memory like it happened just last week. It's the kind of story that doesn't really go away. It stays. It shows up in your thoughts when you're trying to sleep or when something reminds you of how unfair things were back then. It's just one story among many, but this one says so much about how our family worked, or really, how it didn't work. It's one of the biggest reasons I've had such a hard time with my mental health. I'm a woman, the oldest of 3 kids. I have 2 younger brothers, each about 2 years apart from me. We grew up in a house that from the outside probably looked normal, but inside there were a lot of quiet problems that no one really talked about. The younger of my 2 brothers always had something inside him that didn't like me. I don't know what it was exactly, but he made it clear in his own way. It wasn't just normal sibling rivalry. It was darker. He was mean, cruel sometimes, and there was a kind of hate in his eyes when he looked at me. I dealt with it for years, almost 30, before I finally snapped and cut him off. I wish I had done it sooner. I regret keeping him in my life for as long as I did. This story happened when I was in high school. I was working a part-time job after school trying to be independent and responsible. One day, before heading to work, I forgot to refill the iced tea pitcher in the fridge. That was it. That tiny, meaningless thing turned into something terrifying. My younger brother lost it. I mean, really lost it. He was so angry over something so small, and he attacked me. Not just a push or a slap, but a real, violent attack. He was much bigger than me. Even though we were only 2 years apart, he was easily twice my size. He grabbed me by the hair and started slamming my face into the kitchen counter. Over and over again. Then the dishwasher. I couldn't fight back. I couldn't even think straight. And the worst part? He was laughing while he did it. Laughing like it was a joke. Like hurting me brought him joy. He was calling me awful, disgusting names. Things I still remember to this day. I remember the feeling of being completely helpless. I honestly thought it might not stop. The beating only ended because my ex-boyfriend had just pulled up to pick me up for work. I guess the sound of the car or the door opening snapped something in my brother, and he stopped. But he was still yelling, still laughing, like none of it was serious to him. I should have told my ex what happened. I should have let him go inside and deal with my brother. Maybe that would have changed something. But I didn't. I was too scared. It was only my second day at this new job. I could barely walk straight, let alone work. I had bruises all over, my face hurt, my head was pounding. But I still went in. When my boss asked what happened, I told her I got into a fight at school. I made up a story. Why? Because I was terrified that if she contacted my parents, or worse, the police, I would somehow be the one who got punished. That was always how it went in our house. If something went wrong, I was blamed. I was the oldest, so it was always my responsibility. I went home that night, still hurting everywhere, and my parents were already back. I don't know what my brother told them, but they were angry at me. He was sitting there with this smug little smirk, like he was proud of himself, like he was watching his plan work. They started yelling at me. I could barely talk, and I think they only backed off because the bruises were starting to show on my face and arms. I think that's the only reason they didn't actually ground me. They did punish my brother, if you can even call it that. He was grounded for 2 weeks, which basically meant he had to stay in his room and couldn't watch TV at night. That was it. Nothing else. No one made him apologize. No one told him what he did was seriously wrong. No one comforted me. A week passed, maybe less, and then my parents started dropping little hints. They wanted me to talk to him. He didn't mean to, they said. He doesn't know his own strength. He's too upset to talk to you. He feels bad, but he doesn't know how to show it. Eventually, they just said it. You should talk to him. You're the oldest. Be the bigger person. So I did, because that's what I'd always been taught. That I had to be the mature one. That I had to be understanding. That I had to forgive him, even though I was the one who got hurt. That one event wasn't the only time something like this happened. It was just one of many, but it stuck in my memory the strongest, because it was the most violent, because it was the most clear example of how much he hated me, and how little my parents seemed to care. I truly believe that part of his hate came from the fact that I was a girl. My parents had this idea in their heads. Boys will be boys. They used it as an excuse every time he did something wrong. He doesn't know better, they'd say. He's the youngest. So he never got punished the way he should have. Meanwhile, I got in trouble for everything, even small things. If he broke something, I got blamed. If he yelled, it was somehow my fault. That's why I covered for him at work. That's why I lied to my boss, because I knew that telling the truth would somehow still land me in trouble. I was taught to protect him, even when he was hurting me. I was taught to forgive over and over again, even when I didn't want to. And the worst part of that whole night wasn't the bruises or the blood or the fear. It was the way he smiled while calling me names, the way he enjoyed it. That kind of cruelty sticks with you. I kept forgiving him, like I was taught to do. I kept letting him back in even when he didn't change. That forgiveness just gave him more chances to hurt me again. The physical violence mostly stopped after high school, but the threats, the insults, the name-calling, that kept going for years, even into adulthood. There were times I had to hide from him, times when my friends were so scared for me they almost called the police themselves. And still, I covered for him. Still, I lied. So no, it's not surprising I ended up with an abusive boyfriend later in life. When you grow up being told to accept abuse quietly, you start to believe that's what love looks like, that being treated like trash is normal. Coming to terms with the truth, that the people you trusted most were the ones who hurt you, is hard. It breaks something inside, but it also helps you understand why you are the way you are. What still makes me angry, even now, is that no one else knows this story. He tells his own version to people, and in his version, I'm the bad one. I'm the awful sister, and he's just the misunderstood, charming younger brother. And people believe him, because he's good at playing the victim. Sometimes I still have to see him. I'm in a situation now where it's hard to fully avoid him. And I hate that. Every time I even hear his name, my whole body tenses. I'm scared of him. But I'm also so full of rage that I feel like if he came near me again, I'd hit him first. I've never really told this story before. Not like this, not in full. But maybe I needed to. Maybe it's a step toward healing, even just a little. Because what happened was real, and it wasn't my fault. And I deserve so much better than the silence and the pain I was given.